Hello and welcome to the Toastmasters social media seminar. My name is Suzanne Slovak and I'm going to be guiding you today through some of the different platforms of social media. We won't be able to get to all of them in this allotted time, but we will touch base on some and be able to see how to get club growth going in your club. A little bit about my journey. 2 years ago, I went to two different clubs and joined both. Did the lovely dual membership. The interesting thing about this was these clubs consider themselves sister clubs. We're right next door to each other. In fact, if you came to the towns, unless you were from there or saw the sign that you were crossing in, you wouldn't even realize that it was a different town. But at the one club, they had 20, 30 members. At the other club, they were barely keeping their membership. I got the pleasure of being instantly made head of membership at the one club because they just didn't have enough officers. So I started paying attention. Why is this club getting so many and this club wasn't? This is my journey on what I discovered and how we overcame. And I am happy to say that the Fairview Heights Club, as of this recording, not quite 2 years from the time that I joined, they have 22 members and we are still growing. Let's take a look at some things. First off, let's start with Twitter. Everybody asks, well, should I be on Twitter? Well, Twitter is like the Wild West. Anything kind of goes on Twitter. We have seen that back and forth with social media gurus to politicians. Is it right for Toastmasters? Toastmasters International, 100% perfect. Because on Twitter, you need to really tweet anywhere from 2 to 7 times a day. Personally, on the club level, there's just not enough content. District, I think Twitter would be perfect also for Toastmasters with the district level. Club level, I think it's good to have the account for when we go to contest, to comment and keep up with our district and our international. So I do believe we need to have them, but I don't think we need to focus on them. I do have a side note for that. If you are a corporate club, by all means, get a Twitter account. Make sure that it is tweeting to your corporate people. I think that would be a valuable asset for a corporate club. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a business platform for social media. Therefore, you want to keep it business-like. I definitely would be on as an individual. That's where you're going to make the networking connections back and forth. Personally, if you send me a Facebook request after this video, well, I really don't know you. And I don't necessarily want to have you looking at things that I'm sending to my family or a close friend. So I may not friend you. But if you send me a LinkedIn request, especially if you send in a LinkedIn connection with a message that says, hey, I'm with Toastmasters too, love to connect, then I'm networking. I definitely will say yes. Now, as a club LinkedIn site, yes, I have seen some positive outcomes with it. We have gotten at least one member through LinkedIn. However, on a club LinkedIn, you really need to maintain that. They say 2 to 3 posts a week. That's a lot of posts. Is it something that you're going to be able to maintain? If you just have something out there, but you're not posting, LinkedIn may not be one that you want to really hit hard at the beginning. Also, you need to be able to make those connections. And unless you're willing to pay the roughly $60 a month, you are sometimes limited, because the way LinkedIn works is you have to kind of know your connections or a friend of a friend. And if you start just clicking connect, connect, connect after about 25 clicks, it freezes you anywhere from a day to 2 weeks. And not everybody that sees a connection, if there's no other connections, may not LinkedIn with you. So I would definitely have a personal LinkedIn account, having the ability to actually doing the networking that Toastmasters allows us, and whatever field you're in, to be able to LinkedIn and connect with people that way. As far as the club, if you're willing to put the time into it, then yes, go ahead, make a LinkedIn account for the club. Just make sure that you're maintaining it, putting content out there, business content. LinkedIn is not interested that you had a party. They are more interested in what can your club do for me. As far as a corporate, if you're a corporate club, yes, especially if your corporation has a LinkedIn account, you can go to that and you will see everybody that is an employee that is following that LinkedIn. Definitely then create your club account and go into those connections and connect with a private message. Hey, did you know that the corporation has a Toastmasters club? This is what we're all about. This is our meeting times. Please come and join us. Perfect. Perfect for a corporate club. What about Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok? Let's just put all that stuff to the side. Again, in this allotted time frame for the seminar, we just can't talk about everything. Are there things beneficial with those? There could be, but because of time restraints, we're just not going to touch base with those. Okay, let's get down to some of the simplest basic things. You might not think this is social media, yet it is. Time and time again, when I would meet with somebody, whether which club I was at, how did you hear about us? Usually the response was, oh, I heard about Toastmasters years ago, or my friend told me, or I just heard about it. And what they ended up doing is that they went to Toastmasters International, typed in their zip code with Find a Club, and that's how they found us. That's originally how I found the two clubs that I had joined. So let's take a look at the Toastmaster International site, and let's check your club and make sure that everything is the way it should be. Let's take a look. Okay, we have gone to the Toastmasters International site. We have logged in. We have gone and typed in our zip code, and in this case, I am looking for the Fairview Heights Toastmasters Club, and we can see that, come visit us 2nd and 4th via Zoom. That all looks good. We're going to click on that. Everything over here with club meetings, is that what I wanted to say? Is it current? We're going to scroll down. Everything spelled correctly. We have our Facebook icon. We have the visit the website. Again, are the meeting times current? Is the location current? If there is a phone number, make sure that it is a phone number to an actual club member. One of the first things that I realized when I came to this page, when I was head of membership, is the phone number that was there was to a club member that was no longer with the club. She had actually moved on to another club. Unknown if anybody ever called it, but if they did, if they didn't mention, hey, I'm looking at Fairview Heights, they may have just said Toastmasters, And the individual wouldn't have known any different and could have been driving members to another club. So make sure everything is current and up to date. And if you don't want to put a phone number in there, there's all kinds of different ways for people to contact you. Utilize those. Let's come up to club contact. Make sure that that's coming up and working correctly. Let's go here to the Facebook and click on that and make sure that it goes to your Facebook account. Again, over here where it says visit the website, click on that. Make sure it takes you to your club website. Now, I've noticed something that I don't want in here. How do I change that? Let's look at that. Okay, we would like to make a change on this. First off, make sure you are logged in and make sure you're an officer. After you've logged in, you're going to go to your Leadership Central, Club Central, scroll on down here to Club Contact and Meeting Information. If you want to have a phone number in, you can put it here. If you don't want to have a phone number in, that's where you take it out. If you were not finding your web page or your Facebook, this is where you put those links in. If you need to change a meeting location, the map, or any of the other information, it is down here. As far as any text, you are limited to the amount of characters, so you might get a little creative. Then make sure, once you have it the way you want it, to hit the submit button. Otherwise, it doesn't get submitted. Okay, great. We're done with the International Find a Club. We've got everything the way it should be, and people are going to go right to where we need them to go to be able to find us. Now, let's talk about the website. One of the really interesting things that I discovered was when I would type in Fairview Heights, Toastmasters, 4206, enter. Do you know what came up on Google? O'Fallon came up 3 times, then Belleville, then Scott Air Force Base, then Collinsville. What's going on here? Fairview Heights didn't even show up until page 3, not third paragraph, page 3. How many of us are willing to type in something and scroll down 3 pages to find something that we're not 100% sure is even there? So we weren't even coming up on Google, let alone Yahoo, Bing, any of the search engines until the 3rd, 4th, 5th pages of those. So in this next little section, we're going to go into our website and we're going to look at some of the things that will make us pop up in that first page at the top. That's where you want your club to show up. Otherwise, people aren't finding you, and they're either going to go to another club or they're just not going to go to any Toastmasters because it's just not showing. So let's take a look. Okay, here we are. We have Bing, the Fairview Heights Toastmasters. There's the smiling face of James. Some of you may recognize him as the past district president. And we are at the top. We see Fairview Heights. We see Fairview Heights. And we see Fairview Heights and Fairview Heights. Ah, that's what you want to see. You want to be able to see that you're there. Again, you want to go to Bing, you want to go to Google, and you want to go to Yahoo. Those are the 3 main ones. And make sure that you do this on each one because there are different algorithms and they might come up differently. Now, here we have some fun things that we want to also check. Is the map current? If you hit the website, does it take you to the website? There for a little bit, when I was membership at O'Fallon, if you hit the website, it would take you to the Facebook account. So that had to be fixed. If you hit the Facebook account, make sure it takes you to Facebook. And of course, do that on all three platforms, Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Okay, you've done all that, but you found something that's not right. Perhaps it's a contact information, or in one of the cases I had with the Fairview Heights, it was a photo that I didn't necessarily want as prime and center. What they do is they scour your Facebook account, and if you have had a lot of hits on a particular post, they pull that and put that in there. Well, we had a lovely addition last year. Miss Shannon had her second daughter, and of course, that blew up our Facebook account. But unfortunately, it also put her new baby photo right prime and center when you binged the Fairview Heights Club. You can't necessarily remove them on your own. So I went down to where it says suggest edits and went through, hey, can you, under other feedback, remove this photo? I am the current president with the Fairview Heights Club. I attached the officer's email so that they knew it was legit. And hey, please remove this because for privacy rights. Within, unfortunately, a week, so it did take some time, it was removed. So understand that this is a good way to be able to edit some of the algorithms. But remember, there's some guy sitting in a cubicle reading all these and having to scroll through, or a computer's doing it. And it may take anywhere from a day to, in some cases, I've had up to 2 weeks. And every once in a while, I get absolutely no response. But I have seen a better response when I say that I'm the president and I have the official email address put in there. So good luck on any edits there. Okay, everything's looking okay, but one little problem. Maybe you're not coming up. You're not the first one. Okay, how do we get to be on that first page up at the top? Well, let us go into the actual website and see some of the things that we can possibly do there to at least get us on the first page and hopefully up at the top, if you're not already there. Let's go to the actual page. Hello and welcome to the Fairview Heights Toastmasters webpage. I did a lot of work revamping the actual webpage so that we were not on page 3, 4, or 5 of the different search engines. Now, if you are coming up on that first page, you probably won't have to do as much as I did. All you will probably have to do is some of the simple basic things. One of the great resources here after you log in is you can come down here to website support. And it gives you all kinds of fun things from forums to blogs, but how to use was a big help. I scrolled down here, that pulls up your basic web settings. This actually changed a lot, but remember, we were 4 or 5 pages back. The description. That was something I really changed. What our description originally was, hey, we're on Buncombe Road. Well, the way the algorithms work is it needs keywords in those first couple sentences. Nothing said Toastmasters. Nothing said communication, leadership, anything along those lines. So think about the first sentence that when that first page comes up and it says your club, and then there's usually a little bio underneath, that is your description. Have something that says, oh, I want to click on this one. That's where your description will be. And then the next section in this web settings for the basic is keywords. You're going to want to put things like, in my case, maybe St. Clair County, of course, Fairview Heights, your communication, positive learning, any of those keywords that you want people to associate with your Toastmasters. And that will help with the algorithm. Let's come back up here and let's pop over to social links. This is where you can put in your Facebook, your Twitter, your YouTube, your LinkedIn, your Meetup. That's where those all go. What does that do? Well, let's close this out. That puts these guys in. That way, when somebody comes over here, they can see, oh, you're on Facebook. You have a YouTube channel. Well, you're on Meetup. Those are those quick link buttons that people can push. All right. Things are looking much better for your website. There's still much more work that could be done on there, but you'll go ahead and you'll find those other tutorials either on the website or at your district information center and be able to work a little bit more on it. But at least you're now showing on that first page, so that's awesome. Let's go on to the next big boy in this fun social media world, and that is Facebook. Facebook has brought a lot of people into our club, but you have to be on Facebook and you need to be posting. For Facebook, they suggest that you post anywhere from 2 to 5 times a week. Well, if you're meeting every week, that's a no-brainer. Post one for your best speaker, post another day for your best evaluator, hey, and another day for best table topics. There's your 3 posts right there in a day. If you're like the Fairview Heights one, well, we meet every second and fourth Tuesday. So I've got a 2-week period that I got to fill. Still, it's doable. We have gotten, I would say, 50% of our new membership growth through Facebook. Think about that, 50% through Facebook. So in these next couple presentations, we're going to talk about some real basic, simple things, mainly because I've had people, I don't see that button. How do you do that? So for some of you that do a lot of Facebook, just bear with us. We'll get into how to boost, how to do the area that you want to hit or an algorithm for a certain thing. So there'll be a little bit more in advance. But the main thing is, let's get out there and understand how Facebook works to be able to drive more people to the Facebook. Let's see what we've got. Welcome to the Fairview Heights Toastmasters Facebook page. You can see that we have the Toastmaster International branding happening. And we are going to come down here to About, and we are going to make sure that everything is correct, just like we did on Find a Club and the Facebook page. Make sure you click the links so that you know that they're going to where they need to go. In your About and additional information, again, those first couple lines helps with an algorithm that Facebook has. So if people are on Facebook and they're searching for public speaking or confidence building, you'll be in the algorithm and brought up sooner as people search. Always remember, wording is very important. We're going to pop over here and we are going to look at some of the posts. I also would like to point out that here to the right hand of the screen, that is where you can toggle back and forth and interact as the administrator or as yourself. That comes in handy if you've just posted something and you want to like it as yourself. You can click on that and toggle. It's also if you need to make a comment, but you don't want to comment as the administrator, you want to comment as an individual, you can go back to your personal account there. So we're going to scroll down. I put in just a generic post. The background is just the Facebook generic with just some type. That is one way to post. Then we have a picture, best evaluator. We also have a little text at the type here. You will notice here that Rebecca Jordan comes up highlighted. What I did here is a little trick. When I typed in her name, I put the @ symbol, no space, and then proceeded to type in her name. And as you can see, her actual little icon for her Facebook page came up. And then I picked her name. What that is going to do is a sneaky little trick that when that post goes out, it will show up in other people's feeds that are friends with Rebecca. Therefore, eliminating the constant, hey, please share this post, please share the post. But do make sure that you grab the right person's name. For names like Pam Marshall, our soon to be new president, I may have 4 or 5 Pam Marshalls that come up, but only one is the Pam Marshall that's in St. Louis that's a member. So don't just willy-nilly click on people's names. Make sure you are grabbing a club member. But that's a fun little trick to be able to share the post without begging people to share. Here's another post. Again, the more you post, the more engagement you'll get, the better your algorithm. In this case, Father's Day was just around the corner, and I just posted a simple little thing for, Happy Father's Day. Any of the holidays, make sure you do a little post. Here's another post. In this case, we're outside. It's a group photo with text involved. Here you could put in everybody's names, again, putting that @ sign in, getting more engagement, or you can leave the @ sign out and just do a regular post. Make sure that the first sentence is something that's going to grab people. Think of headlines for a newspaper, because when you're scrolling on your screen with your thumb, you're only seeing that one little line and a photo. And if that doesn't catch your interest, well, usually you just keep on scrolling through. So always remember to keep things catchy, something that's going to make somebody want to click on that particular post to see what it's about. Here's a post where I made a slide that says when our next meeting is. For the O'Fallon Club, I made a slide that says every Thursday they meet at 7 p.m. In both cases, what I have done is if you go to these 3 little double dots here, you can see pin to the top of the page. And what that does is that we'll pin it up to the top of the post. So every time you post something else, this particular slide will always stay at the top until you unpin it. Once you unpin it, it will fall back to whenever you created it, or you can delete that post. And I usually do that with these because it's when our next meeting is, and you don't necessarily want to take all that time up. This is all great, but I don't want to spend every day or every other day making posts for the club. There is a way to be able to sit down at your desktop or your laptop and schedule posts. You can do 10 different posts that will schedule throughout a week, 2, or even a month. And once you schedule them, you just walk away and they'll notify you when they have been scheduled and running. Let's take a look at how we do that. Okay, we're going to come over to the left-hand side here and we're going to schedule some posts. We're going to go to Publishing Tools. Click on there. Okay, we're in Publishing Tools. One little side note, scheduled posts. Once you create all of your scheduled posts, they will be in that tab. If for some reason you realize that you need to edit something, you just go to that scheduled posts and you can edit, delete, anything you need to do, they'll be right there. But in the meantime, let's create a post so that I can show you how to schedule a post that will post in a day or two, and how to schedule a post that will appear, say, for an event at a certain time, and then it will disappear from your feed at a given time. Okay, we're going to create a post that we are going to schedule. I've already picked a photo, and of course you can come in and type anything you want for this post. But because we're in a time crunch, we're just going to talk about the sharing aspect. Share now with a drop arrow. You can, of course, just create your post like you normally would and just share now, just like you normally would. But in this case, I want to do a best speaker for Monday, a best evaluator for Tuesday, and best table topics for Wednesday. And I want to have each one post at 6 a.m. So let's look at the best speaker. I would hit schedule. Let's scroll up. And I would pick Monday at 6 a.m. And then I would hit schedule. And it will create the post so that it will run Monday at 6 a.m. Again, that will then put it over into the scheduled posts. If I needed to stop something or edit, that's where I would go. Otherwise, Monday at 6 a.m., my phone's going to beep at me and tell me that my post that I created is running. I would do the same thing for best evaluator. Change the date so that it comes up on Tuesday at 6 a.m. and schedule the post. Let's say we're working on an event. Let's say this event is August the 12th at 7 p.m. and it's probably going to go till 10 o'clock. But I want to create this post so it starts showing up in everybody's feeds August the 1st. And then after the 12th, I don't really want to see that post anymore. What I would do is I would create exactly what we did. I would schedule it for August the 1st at 8 a.m. But then I would hit the stop newsfeed duration. And I would have it at August the 12th. Oh, let's say at 9 o'clock, I want the feed to stop. And that will stop the feed and pull it off. Unless I pin that post, it will automatically delete it. Again, I will get a notification that the post has started, and I'll get a notification that it has ended. This is a great time-saving device to be able to do 5, 6, 10 posts in one sitting and then not have to worry about it. It'll just post it when you scheduled it and Facebook will notify you when they're running. Let's say we have an event that we want to boost, we want to promote. Or let's just say we want to drive more traffic to us. So there's an interesting post that we would like to boost. It has gotten a little bit of reaction, but we want to kind of hit it out in our general area. What is boosting? Well, boosting is where you pay Facebook to promote it. I know what you're thinking. Boost, money, my credit card. Well, what happens if I'm not with this club in 10 years? Can they use my credit card? Can another person that's an administrator on the account use my card to boost a post? The good news is your credit card is to your personal account. So it is secure. No one else can use yours and you cannot use anyone else's. That's the good news. So let's look at how to boost a post. To the promote and create a post, or grab an existing post and boost it. We can also slide on down here and under the post we would like, we can boost it. Now, okay, here we are. We're ready to boost a post. To the right-hand side, you can see the post that we've picked. To the left-hand side is some different options that we can choose. Goals. Let's look. The first one is Facebook's suggestions. I personally like the get more engagement. Let's scroll down a little bit here. You can see here that send message button is there. I personally like that one, but let's say that we don't necessarily want that. We can take the button off. We can put a button that says learn more, sign up, or call now. There's a variety of buttons that you can put in. Let's say you didn't want to put a button in. You can take that out. And now you can see that the post has changed. Now, let's talk about algorithms. We've created one here that says for test. We're going to go into edit. You can name your algorithms. Potential market, Fairview Heights in my case. Just give it some names so that as you build these different ones and you can tweak them, that you can just grab a hold of them. Your audience, men, women, age group, you can slide for your ages. Now, this is the important thing. If you just boost a post without changing the algorithms, who knows where they're going? They could be going to Canada. They could be going to Europe. You're a local club. You want to drive traffic from your local area. So what we have done here is typed in Fairview Heights plus 10 miles. Now, let's scroll on down. And now you can see that location for that 10 miles. It tells you the potential audience. There are also some different keywords that you can tag in there. Now, don't go crazy if you put 50 different tag words. It's so much that it gives you such a narrow audience. It's not necessarily helping. I would do some test marketing. Don't put any keywords in for one. Then maybe start with communication or anxiety or public speaking. Just some different things that your members have mentioned, and see if that doesn't help get more traffic to you. Again, we're creating algorithms, and you'll have to play with it a little while before you hit the ones. But that's why you're making the titles for your test markets, so you can see which one's working. And you can go in and edit those to tweak them a little bit more so you don't necessarily have 50 different algorithms out there. Let's talk the money. The first time you do this, you will end up having to put your credit card in. Once you do that, they'll send you a monthly invoice just so you know what you're spending. Let's look at the potential reach for the duration of the money you're using. We can go as low as 1 day for $1. Your estimated reach is 66 to 190 people, post engagements 19 to 54 people. The post engagements are people clicking the more, the message button, actually saying like, or going to the website. Those are different post engagements. But the main thing is to get people to start seeing you. As you increase the money, let's stay at 1 day. Now let's go $25. You can see how the reach increases. And of course, you can add days. Now, remember to check where it says per day. That's $25 per day for 3 days. Don't think you're just spending $25. You're actually spending $75. If for some reason you make a boo-boo, you can always pause the ad and the money will stop. If you have it for 3 days and you just don't want to run the ad at all, just pause it for the 3 days and then it cancels itself out. Well, that's some ins and outs on Facebook. Unfortunately, we're coming to the end of our time for this seminar, and I hope that you have learned some tips and tricks that you can take back to your club, for your website and your Facebook, and some of the other social media. Again, there's a lot more involved in it, but this is just the basic understanding of how to drive traffic to your club. And of course, at the end of the day, you need to have your vice president of membership being a salesperson and able to close the sale at the end of the day, getting them to sign and join the club. And your public relationship officer to help the membership officer get all this stuff taken care of. And of course, the very most important thing that I learned at Fairview Heights is not only those particular officers, but the entire group of Toastmasters. Because when people come in, if they're not being welcomed or feeling engaged, then they're not going to want to join. So remember, it's a whole club. It takes a village. It takes a club to make a Toastmasters club. Thank you so much for your time.